Hello, Covenant County. Welcome to What's Up, Covenant County, with my guest today, Mike Hunter. And I bet the last thing, Mike Flowers, and I just went through this with him before this. I have the worst time getting his name right. I've made a, and I love him to death. I've known him for a few months now, and it's just the craziest thing in the world. Normally, I'm pretty good with names. My name today is Mud. I've already insulted, I guess. Okay. I know, Mike, you're probably wondering what a 68-year-old white man's trying to do, giving you an introduction from a Budweiser commercial and then getting your name wrong. We stumbled into this segment a few months ago when we were doing an interview with a guy named Don Cotton. I think you probably know him. And we were struggling with what to name the thing, and Don said, why don't you just call it What's Up, Covenant County? And so every time I see Mike O'Neill now, he looks at me and he goes, What's up? You know, and I'm assuming that's a hello, or rather than a you idiot kind of comment. But anyway, our guest today is Mike Flowers. Maybe I'll be embarrassed enough to get it right. Mike and I met up here on the square a couple of months ago at night. His lovely wife was here, along with about 600 other people that we met up here on the square when they had an evening, kind of a eclectic gathering of different churches from in the area for a barbecue. Of course, food was there, and I was going to be. And we got to talking, and I felt like, even though I can't get his last name right, it's Flowers, isn't it?
Correct.
He and I just kind of had a real nice, I thought, connection. It was, and we've stayed in touch, and I've even dialed the right number when I've called him, and it says Mike Flowers in my phone, but you know, I'm gonna keep saying this until I get it right.
Okay.
Anyway, Mike is a pastor at Southside Baptist Church here in Andalusia, Alabama. That's a really nice church y'all got down there. I mean,
it is.
That's really grown, and you've got a lot going on. That's kind of like what we'd like to talk to about today is, you know, what you're doing down there, and maybe who some of your people are, and that kind of stuff. Now, for people that are just maybe in a motel looking at this, you know, passing through on the way to somewhere else, or if they're if you're here for a ball tournament or something like that, you're welcome to Southside Baptist Church. Can you tell them your physical location so they can get there?
Sure. We're located on the West Bypass. The physical address is 1213. If you go around, and it's past the Synergy service station on the left-hand side before you get to the elementary school. And we'd love to have you. If you're here on Sunday, our worship services are at 10. And have a great worship service, great congregation.
I can speak for your congregation. I'm not going to brag on you preaching.
Well, you got to show up first.
I've heard you do some funerals though. Does an excellent job. And but anyway, they were very welcoming church. You know, a lot of churches. I'm not going to say anyone here, but there are a lot of churches that sometimes you walk into, and you maybe you feel like that you know, maybe you don't fit. I've never felt that any time that I've walked into any of your buildings.
They are a very welcoming
you know,
group, congregation. They really are.
I'm reminded of the story about the guy that the board of deacons went and met in the small town and got to know him, and he seemed like he was a pretty nice guy. And he said, so they said, well, come to church with us. He said, you know, and he kept saying he would, but after several weeks, he never come. And somebody went by and talked to him. He says, well, I'm just embarrassed. I don't have a nice clothes to go in. And I know that's not a barrier at your place. You just want the spirit there to be with. But anyway, the guy says, oh, that's no problem. We, you know, just come with me. And they carried him downtown, and they carried him to a haberdasher, and they put him in a nice shirt and tie and suit and pants. And he said, man, I'll be there Sunday. And the guy said, well, we expect to see you there Sunday. The guy said, he didn't show up Sunday. So the head of the deacons from the Baptist church went to see him. He said, I'm worried. He said, something wrong? He says, no, I got the suit on and I look so good I thought I better be a Presbyterian instead of a Baptist. But anyway, they take on no airs is what I'm trying to say. Their church, they're glad to see it. Doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter where you come from. You know, if you smoke, you're welcome there. They just want you to be there and join them. And of course, as you said, you're welcome from 10 o'clock until about noon.
Well, no, not noon.
Well, you know, 10 o'clock until 11, is that, or 11?
About 11:15. Yeah, when we begin coming out. So.
And it's a nice, I love your sanctuary.
Yeah, beautiful sanctuary.
It's beautiful. It's warming. It's, you know, I mean, it's really nice place you got. And your office is not bad either. But y'all have got a lot of things going on there, and we want to talk about those in just a minute after we have these commercial interruptions. Okay, Mike?
That'll work.
Folks, welcome back to What's Up, Covington County. I've got my friend right here from Southside Baptist Church, Brother Mike Flowers. Now, Mike's not a foreigner to this area. He's almost, he was almost born right in the middle of God's country. He came from Atmore. Don't hold that against him. I lived in Atmore for a short time, 100,000 years ago, and they were nice to me there. But Mike came to us, I think you were an op before you became here, is that right?
Well, I was an op, then we went to Americus, Georgia.
Americus,
Georgia,
yeah.
We've come back here, so.
Well, you've stayed in peanut country because they raise a lot of peanuts
They
over
do.
around Americus.
Yes, they do.
But,
yes, they do.
But he's originally from Atmore, Alabama, where he at one time in his life, Mike was a member of the Blue Devils. No, that's not a religious cult. That's their football and basketball team. But you know, you could take that and you could really use that. So I was a devil until I came into this church.
Well,
and he might have been. But Mike, y'all have you have your regular Sunday services, I know, but y'all have other things that y'all do down at your church for families and people like that. Don't y'all have I mean, you have I think you have some church education stuff. You have some courses on the Bible that you're teaching, and
well, on Sunday mornings at 8:45, we have Sunday school, what we call Sunday school classes. Right. Small groups meet, and that's from birth all the way up to whatever age. And we have some great classes, great teachers, and we try to keep it balanced as far as teaching the Bible and right. How to make it life application. And of course, our worship services are at 10. Then on Sunday nights, we have some bit of discipleship at 5, and then we do a specialized study on Sunday nights at 6. Right now, I'm teaching through the book of Revelation, and which has generated some interest, and we have a good time with that on Sunday nights.
You picked the easiest one out there.
Sure did.
Yeah.
On Wednesday nights, we have all of our mission organizations, our praise and worship team, choir and band, they practice, and then we have a gathering of about 25 to 30 people where we pray for the needs of our congregation and the community, as well as kind of a small, intensive Bible study on Wednesday nights. So we call it the Life Solutions Cafe. Come together for a little bit of coffee and gathering and prayer and Bible study.
It's pretty neat.
Yes, so.
Do you have any, do y'all have a kindergarten or anything like that?
We have
daycare?
Our Camp Sunshine is our child care during the week, Monday through Friday. And right now we have our summer Camp Sunshine, where the school-age children are there all day long. But usually when school starts, we have from birth to pre-K. and then we have the after-school program.
An after-school program as well.
After-school program takes place as well. So.
Is that restricted to only your members, or?
Well, no. What it is, Nancy Filion, she's our
I know
director,
who you're talking about.
And these you have to be registered, and you go through her, and she does all the registering and make sure that everybody's in place where they need to be. We got some great teachers there, do a great, phenomenal job. They really do.
That's what I would call that kind of stuff's really community outreach.
It is.
But you know, I know that there's some other things that y'all have been involved for your members that have been in need. I know, for instance, you just recently had a cake
auction.
Auction.
Yes.
For one of the families there. The guy's a coach at Strawn, if I remember right.
That's correct.
And they have a daughter that really hadn't been able to quite put the finger on what she's got, which is
well. And our congregations, they're a loving congregation. They come alongside and support in a lot of different ways. They do.
Yeah. Well, I'm familiar with that. I think one of the worst things a parent can have is something that they can't get an answer for their children, and I'm thinking that's pretty. I look over at my child over there, and I think there's no answer for that. But the fact that y'all would pitch in like that to help, I'm sure that's gotten to be quite an expensive ordeal for them at this point in time, with the trips to Birmingham and all those kind of things.
Well, one of the powerful ministries that Southside has and that we believe in is the power of prayer.
Yeah.
We have periodically, we will have just prayer services where we come together, pray over folks that want to be prayed over, and we pray for our nation, our state, county, city officials. You know, they're seasons of prayer when we come together, and our focus is on asking the Lord to touch people's lives, to strengthen our leaders, to give them the wisdom that they need in leading our country, state, county, and city. And so we believe in the power of prayer, and a lot of praying goes on during the week and on Sundays. Great. And so that's one of the aspects we believe in, that God is mighty, and He calls us to prayer, and He says call on Him, and He will do His work in our lives. And we've seen the Lord do a lot of work in people's lives through prayer. Well,
you know, I think miracles come through prayer, and I think sometimes you get miracles even when we never deserve them, but when you least expect them.
Yes.
And you know, I think sometimes a miracle is as simple as a check arriving just on time.
Yes.
It got here 3 days early, you know. But I think that we probably aren't nearly as cognizant or thankful as we should be for a lot of the things that happen in our lives. We're going to be back in just a minute with some more with our good friend, Brother Mike Hunter. Flowers! I did that on purpose this time. Welcome back to What's Up, Covenant County. The guest, who many people are confused as to his real identity, is Brother Mike Flowers, but don't call him Gardenia, from Southside Baptist Church. The big joke from now on will be, how many different names can Mike have after John J. forgot? I've just had a terrible problem with word association with your name, and you know,
I don't understand why.
I don't either. I mean, I don't either. You know, one of the nicest things people can give you is a good name. And you got a good name, it's just that I can't seem to remember it. And you know, he's going to go back and tell his wife, you know, I just had an interview with the biggest idiot in Covenant County.
No.
Well, Mike and I were talking about some things here in at his church, and the thing, it's not just his church. He's got some mighty fine people working with him there. I'd like for you, if you can, to talk just a minute about, you know, a little bit about your background, where, you know, in addition to coming from Atmore, where you went to school, and you know, I know you've got a minister of music, and you've got other associates there that you know, people probably would like to know, and know that there are places that they can go and serve there. Can you do that for a minute?
Brother Ron Patterson, he's our minister of music. He's the one that leads our worship and music program. Does a phenomenal job, and he has some great individuals that play the instruments, and the choir. We have an incredible choir. I'm always amazed every Sunday as to when they're finished singing, how they just draw us closer through their message and song to the presence of the Lord. They're phenomenal. They really are. And Ron does a great job, has a great staff working under him. And then we have Merrill Davis, that he leads our student ministry, and we're always looking to strengthen that ministry. And then we have some individuals within our church who are over our children's ministry. We have Margaret Bennett, she does our preschool, and then we have Susan Maddox, who does our children. And both the ladies,
Susan, she's such a sweet one.
Both the ladies do a phenomenal job. And then great leadership there that surrounds me, that I am blessed to have. Some men who pray with me, pray over me, and come alongside of me, and that's through our deacon body. And it's an incredible privilege to be able to serve with them. And then of course Lo Dillard, he's our building maintenance man, does a phenomenal job, really invaluable to the church. And so, you know, it's just we have some incredible people, really do, and that I'm blessed to work with. Of course, I came from Atmore, and then by trade, I'm a draftsman designer. Did that in the industrial and commercial field for about 5 or 6 years.
Right.
And then when I gave my life to Christ, it wasn't long after that He began working in my heart to in ministry, and I answered that call and went to Graceful for 4 years. It was called Baptist Bible Institute then,
right.
But now it's the Baptist College of Florida, and got my bachelor's degree in ministry there, and served over in here in Andalusia after that. The very first church I pastored was about 32 years ago, Northside Baptist Church here in Andalusia.
Well, I'll be dog. Yeah.
And then felt the call to go to seminary, so we moved to New Orleans. They call it New Orleans.
That's right, Nawlins.
The New Orleans Seminary there. And from there we went out to the Houston, Texas area for about 10 years. Came back to Alabama, and we were in Opp, Georgia, and then we're back here. So that's had the privilege of pastoring some great people in different states, and that God has used to be a great asset in my ministry, in my life, and a blessing. Of course, the whole aspect of my ministry could not be done without my wife.
Oh,
Shirley, she is
lovely lady.
She is.
Her last name is Flowers.
She is, but she is. She's my soulmate, my best friend. She is the one that has just been a great support for me. And we've been married 41 years, and have...
no way, she's not even that old.
Well, you know, I robbed the cradle.
Well, I'm telling you, she's a lovely lady.
We have 2 married, grown children married with their, and they've given us with their spouses 6 great grandchildren, wonderful grandchildren.
Yeah. But the grandchildren also happen to be great.
Yes, they are. But my whole life has been a blessing. It starts with my relationship with the Lord, and then my wife, my best friend, and all the way through. So it's just it's been a great journey, and I'm looking forward to the journey that's ahead. I'm a long way from thinking that I'm finished. I just Lord's called stirred my heart to several things for His church. One is to see the church revitalized. I think that is so important today. You know, we're combated on every side, it seems like, from different type of passions, And my desire is for the church to make an incredible impact on people's lives the way the Lord wants us to. And that's our goal, and that's our mission. I know it is at Southside. And just to see people's lives changed and transformed.
Well, I'd like to speak to you for just a few minutes more in another segment about something that, but we're going to take a break right now, and then we'll be back with a final session with Mike Flowers. You got to see how many times I've gotten his name wrong on the show.
You're really struggling today on that, aren't you?
Well, I was telling you, I've only had this happen to me once before, and it was years ago when I was dating a young lady. I was like 23, and we dated, got kind of close, and I will not impugn her honor. Nothing happened other than we were, just crazy to kiss on each other. But anyway, I could never remember her last name, and I mean, after several dates, and then I had her, we had progressed to the point where it was okay for her to come over and have dinner with us. And my mother went to my mother's, and she sat her down, and I noticed above where she sat Alice down, she says, her last name is, and I'm not going to say what her real last name was, but let's just say her last name is Johnson. And every once in a while I'll hit one, but this is Mike Flowers, or I like to refer to him as Reverend Mike from Southside Baptist Church, a friend of mine whose name I have a hard time remembering, but he's visiting with us. One of the things I wanted to ask you about, and I'd love to have you come back and let's have some more conversations over time. But I noticed Merrill Davis does your student ministry.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know Merrill. There's a lot I don't know. But I believe that any church, one of the most challenging things that they have right now is finding a way to communicate with young people, young men and women, finding a way to get in there and to talk with them and have them feel comfortable enough to come back and converse with people about spiritual things. And if you could kind of give us an idea of what y'all do to engage young people in that.
Well, I think one of the biggest things, and it's just not for students, it's for children and adults, is to engage them where they are. And getting to know them. What is it that makes them, what are their desires? What really gets their creativeness going? What are their fears? A lot of people have fears today, and students do, and that's okay, because they're growing, they're learning themselves, they're learning their society, and it's tough sometimes. And to get to know where they are, you have to engage them, and that's many times one-on-one. Engage them where they are, and help them realize it's okay to struggle. It's okay if they don't always get it right. It's okay, and take the pressure off of them. I think many times we put too much pressure on our children, on our students, whether it's we're trying to live our past through them, or is there just
something I've never been guilty of,
or it's just them having to deal with life. There's so much that they feel like they may have a grasp of, and many times they don't. But just meeting them where they are, engaging them, not without any expectations, and just encouraging them that even as older children, even as students going into college, they're ready to be college students or going into the work field, right. That they are valuable. And that they're an asset, and that God can use them wherever they choose to be. And so it's just engaging them, being on their level, and just kind of throwing away that expectation, that bar that many times we want to sit and just say, okay, this is where we are, and just engage them there. And I think that helps them feel like, okay, you know, we can do this. We can live with freedom, and we can grow and learn from our mistakes. But I go back to it. It's just engaging people where they are, and that's just not the students, but for adults as well. I think that's, and I want to go back to Southside. That is one of the things, one of the characteristics about the church that I love so much, that we're blessed with, is many of our people know how to do that, how to engage with people where they are. They set aside position, rank, and file, and all that in society, and they just meet them where they are, and welcome them, and say, hey, we want you to grow with us, and find that that strength comes from the Lord in every aspect of life.
Well, Mike Flowers, I will never forget this interview.
Neither will I.
I know. I'm almost scared to broadcast it. I've made such an idiot out of myself. Folks, we're glad to have had with us today Mike Flowers, who is the minister, pastor of, I guess pastor is probably the better title if there is such one, of the Southside Baptist Church located down here on the south side of town. It's a beautiful, beautiful facility, and wonderful, very active congregation of good people down there. He's been a great guest with us today, and I would encourage you, if you have the opportunity, to join them in worship. Their worship begins at 10 a.m. on Sunday. If you come in a few minutes late, I don't think they'll beat you up. There's all that singing and all that goes on then, but go by and see Mike Flowers and the people there at Southside. I promise you they're the kind of folks that'd love to see you and be interested in you. Thank y'all for watching us today. We'll see you with more more educational programming like this in the future. Remember two things. I always say be kind to one another and shop local, but for sure be kind to one another. See you later.